I think a lot of people are listening to this and who have a Netflix account have probably seen the documentary on Kanye, right? So you see, just look at the time period between prior to her death and after. Look at how every interaction that they had, what type of words she was using, and the impact that it had on the son, right? Projecting that positive energy, and basically telling him you could do whatever you want to do.
Look, hell of an intro. I tell you what you info, but I never really been the type of dude to give no info. But if you see your ends low and you trying to get a benzo, I'll give your ass some game that'll change the way that you think, bro. Super skilled with the pencil, super ill in my mental. I reminisce on life, I'm nice, here's my memento. Get it through your tempo, I get on any tempo and give it all I got. I'm hot, I got like 10 flows, trying to live on the 10th floor, across from residentials that I own. My mind stayed grown, I used to think clothes, I really used to think hoes and what I do to get those, and then I switched it up. I'm only thinking.
What's up, everyone? It's Ronnie Polonius and Francis Fan, and welcome to the realest show on the planet of Earth, where we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. You're going to essentially hear it all. So if you're ever looking for some sort of motivation, inspiration, or guidance, you're in the right place. You know, we make it our mission to make sure we can give you a place where you can consistently walk and grow. Let's get it. Yo, can you believe it? We're at number 45, man.
Yes, I can.
I'm not gonna say about it. I'm not gonna say that I didn't think we was gonna make it, but it's like, man, it's one of those things where, man, we're at episode 45. It's one of those. It's a good feeling, I will say. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think all praise to the preparation. I think we did a lot of foundation work, and there's still foundation work to be done. The work is never finished.
Big
the work is never finished. Job's not done. But yeah.
Far from it. But man, how you doing, man? I jumped right into that. I saw the episode number that we're doing. I was like, wow, we're there. 1 year down, almost. We can almost say it. But I'm glad that you're doing good, man.
Now, in all of this, I don't even want to get to question. How are you first?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Things are good for me. I don't have no complaints. I'm breathing, so it's always a blessing to be taking another breath of air, of the O2, right? The oxygen.
Sure. What do you have for us today?
Yeah. So, but before we get started, I was checking the reviews. I don't know. I guess y'all didn't hear me last week. Either
people are busy. Life is happening. I don't know where you've been. I don't know what planet you've been on. People don't have the time to live reviews.
Oh wow, that's how. Is that how they feel? You think?
I think it's not how they feel. They show their appreciation in different ways. You're just expecting review to fill that void. By that I mean for me, if you listen to the episode, I see that as a review.
Yeah,
I see
absolutely.
So I think they show it in different ways. If you share the something that we post on Instagram, that's one way of doing it as well. It doesn't,
No, it doesn't.
I get that you want to see, the feedback. I get that.
Yeah, and that's really it. And I'm gonna keep doing it up until those moments come, because it's not more or less for me. It's more or less for allowing us to spread out the word, or at least our episodes out to the masses. The best way for us to get to other people is if obviously we have reviews, but not only that, I want to be able to show the appreciation of the person that's taken the time to do so. And so that's why I'm always going to mention it up until the point where we get one, which I know it's going to come soon. Trust me. We're going to get that review and we're going to talk about it. And I want you and I to really talk about the review and itself, to see, live discussion of, our breakdown of it, and just, allow that person to not even feel appreciated, but be appreciated, because we are taking the time to read those. So if you even want to tell your friends or tell your mom or tell your dad, like, hey, I was on the Walk and Grow podcast, you have the ability to do that, because we're going to be talking about the reviews.
But I think it's going to start coming. You will see improvement over time, or you will see, you will get a shift in terms of how things are going when it comes to that department. I'm fairly confident that as things progress, it can only get better.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not stressed about it. I'm going to keep repeating it. uh, just to drill it into people's heads, whether it's in the beginning, middle, or end, one way or another, you're gonna hear it. So just get used to it. Or if you want to skip this, go ahead and skip it. I'm pretty sure half of you guys already did that anyways. But let's get into the real reason why we're here today. But before we get started, please, everybody, stay safe, be safe, understand your surroundings. I definitely want to have a little moment of silence as we've lost another one. Rest in peace to Takeoff. So with that being said, let's just take a real quick moment of silence. Really wanted to do that because it's very unfortunate to see one go, especially if it's one of your loved ones. But let's get into the episode today. We're going to be talking about confidence. We're going to really be talking about how do you really unleash your confidence? What is confidence? How do you build confidence? So we're going to really be diving deep into, just the ins and out of confidence. And you're going to be able to hear from us ourselves of how we go about it, how we've developed it. And I should say we, because I'm not sure what Francis's answer is just quite yet. So we're going to go ahead and dive deep into that. And this all ties in with two significant individuals in this world that have a massive influence that I think is going to allow everybody to really understand why we are having this conversation here today, man. But with that being said, what in all reality do you view as confidence, or what do you think confidence is, Francis?
Knowing that you're not in this fight alone. Whatever it is that you're going through, you're not alone.
Yeah, so when I think of confidence, it's just having the ability to know, just trusting yourself, and believing in yourself, and having the ability to do something. I think that's where it really stems from, at least for myself. I can't really speak for others. Would you say you've always been a person that's been confident?
No.
Yeah.
No, it grows after a certain experience. You got to go out there, make the mistakes, and learn. Sometimes you learn the first time, sometimes you learn after 10 tries. The key is to be persistent.
Now, would you still say to this day, like that's still the case for you today?
Hell no. I'm a different beast now.
You said
no, it's just a whole different level of frequency here.
But now, okay, so
and
now
I see the bullshit when I see it. So it's like
spicy.
Yeah.
So then, like you clearly stated that earlier, like it wasn't always with you. Now it's with you, and there's nothing stopping you. So like, I think we could get into that. But was there a point in time? Is there something that happened for you to realize, you know what, it's all on me, kind of thing?
Yeah. But it takes really some work, man. It's not something you just like realize, because sometimes you could just like, you could be doing something, you think you're doing it this way, but it means completely something else to the eyes of others, or just the way things should go. It's like, it's hard to just say, okay, that's how it should be. You follow?
Yeah. Now, in terms of for myself, at least, where confidence comes from in general, I feel like confidence just really comes from the consistency of doing something. I mean, our very first episode, I don't know if this was the episode you mentioned it on, but you were like, you were never a big person of public speaking, but now I don't know how you feel now, but I'm based off of you still being here today. I think that shows a lot of you just being comfortable, you knowing that you have the confidence to do it. And that's why I kind of say just that consistency of doing anything, you're going to naturally. And I think just it's going to be built into you to have that confidence, because you've done it way too many times. And there's so many things that could surprise you at that point in time. At least for myself, I was thinking of like, where did my confidence even really come from? And I guess it's just really just trying new things. It's trying new things, not being, of course we all get nervous. I get nervous still to this day when I'm doing certain things, especially even if I've done it over and over and over again. It's just me. But where does my confidence really come from? I just think it's just me wanting to understand, or at least wanting to know, or at least wanting to learn something. So, just that confidence, just anything that's in front of me, I always find a way around it, simply because I can't let stuff stop me. I'll try it, before I say I can't or I don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that point in time, if it's really something that whether I'm not good at it or whether I'm just like, yo, this isn't for me, at least I can say I've tried it. And that's kind of how I guess my confidence has just led me to do so much. It's just the fact that I go in there trying it and I don't look back until I realize, yeah, this is a waste of my time.
Mm-hmm. For me, it's it's more about knowing that as long as I have in my mind and two hands, I'm good. Even based on the experience that I've had this year with the people that I was around, the level of confidence grow when you realize that when you're at peace, you don't even realize you're at peace with the fact that you have a sound mind.
And
When you realize that nothing in the world can potentially phase you.
I would even take it a step further. I think when people compliment you or they point something out within yourself that you never really paid attention to, that even plays a huge part with someone's confidence level. I remember this one story that I'm thinking of now is when I was in college. I never was a big fan of public speaking and getting in front of the class and start making presentations. It's just one of those things that I just did not enjoy doing. I did it because obviously we had a grade, so I had no choice. But there was a few times in one specific class that the professor constantly kept saying, "Hey, Ronnie," like he would always pull me aside and have a conversation with me about my presentation, just to critique me, but at the same time tell me like, "Yo, you're doing really well." And I think that right there has given me tremendous amount of confidence when speaking to masses of people or just speaking in general, because I still to this day, as you can see, I still carry that story with me, and that's somebody that I truly indeed will say thank you for even sharing that or even giving me that criticism, that feedback, because it helped. It helped just traject my confidence level with just speaking in general.
How did you develop,
I
kind of
don't
where
know,
did
man.
it start? Like how did you begin to grow into that confidence? At what age? Is there a story? Like I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, I was never really a person that liked to do public speaking.
Mm.
I would say all the way up through high school as well. Like all those years, I didn't like it. It wasn't up until college when I think I grew up out of that phase
Hold on,
and
hold on,
just
hold on, hold on. What I meant to say, I think you already answered that part. So what I wanted to ask is basically what helped you.
practicing. Gotcha. So yeah, practicing and preparing myself. That
Mm.
was really it. That's the only way. And of course, we can't prepare ourselves for every circumstance, every situation. But at least if I understood what my overall mission, or at least what I was trying to my point that I was trying to bring across to everyone, as long as I nailed that in, I knew I was fine. Everything else was just supporting details. So it was just preparing myself. Preparation is the biggest tool that I think a lot of people sleep on.
In which way? Like how? Just you like
Yeah, so I
how did you
mean,
practice?
we can keep it on the same example of public speaking aspect. So my way of preparing myself is just if I'm doing a presentation, I just go over my presentations a few times. I'm literally talking to myself in the mirror, or I'm talking to the computer, just constantly going through it. I try not to look at it and try to just recite what's going on there. But I also have main points that I'm good at. So when I write something down, I write a lot to remember, especially things that I need to remember, because then it sticks with me even more. So I'll write things down, but at the same time, I'm going through the presentation just to help with that, because again, I may not remember. I'm not trying to remember my slides. I'm not trying to remember the words. I'm just trying to understand the concept of why I'm even saying what I'm saying. And if
Mhm.
I have that in the back of my mind, now I know I can just, all right, everything is just going to come and it's going to flow. And maybe even better ideas are going to come as I'm speaking. And that's typically what happens. It's just preparation, though, for the most part. I can't really say it's anything in particular, one thing that I really do to take this thing to the next level. It's just prepare myself and understanding what you're talking about at the same time, just articulating your words properly.
That's definitely important. I would say for me that will rank top three. Yeah, preparation.
Yeah, what would be your one then?
I think allowing yourself to be in the right environment, because by doing so you're exposing yourself tremendous amount of knowledge, and that can help you gain confidence and learn on how other people gain confidence. So you're learning, you're being practical about it. You're not
Mm.
just writing down how you're gonna do it, but fail to actually implement it. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So by just going out there and putting yourself out there, it gives you an opportunity to, even practice how to gain that self-confidence with others.
Mm.
Because like, sometimes we live too much in our mind. And that's
Yeah.
only one perspective of things. Get out of that box and get other people's perspective so you can then evaluate where on that map do you stand.
Mm.
Yeah.
So the only thing, I'm not gonna say it's an issue, but I kind of want to play God's advocate here and just share with you. What if I'm not a person that likes to get out? I'm an introvert, right? I'm not an extroverted person like
Bro,
you.
there's so many different ways to tap into others people's perspective. Books, audible, movies, based on true stories, preferably.
So how are
Um,
those things supposed to give somebody that confidence though?
because if for example, if you find a story that you can relate to, right? Prime example, the Bible. If you read the Bible, you're gonna find yourself in the story of so many different characters. And that aspect gives you confidence because you're able to see how they've thrived. They were able to overcome those obstacles and challenges. You follow?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it does not, you don't just have to have that physical interaction for you to gain self-confidence. There's multiple ways to do so. I think of, for example, the prime one is a mother to a son, right?
Hmm.
The words of a mother to a son is powerful. I think a lot of people who are listening to this and who have a Netflix account have probably seen the documentary on Kanye, right? So you see, just look at the time period between prior to her death and after. Look at how every interaction that they had, what type of words she was using, and the impact that it had on the son, right? Projecting that positive energy, and basically telling him you could do whatever you want to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of saying, hey, maybe you should not do this, maybe. So what that did, it allowed the kid to have a clear mind to then focus on what he wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And look at the product. It was amazing. The minute she was gone, I didn't want to make this about Kanye, but it's just, you get the whole concept.
Yeah. No,
The minute she was gone,
Be careful. His name is Ye now. It's not Kanye
I
no
don't, I
more.
don't, I don't, I don't give a flying rat. But yes,
But not, I mean, I think he's a great example. A lot of people probably will think about it, like say, like he's not a great example at the moment, but that's somebody that literally speaks his mind, walks around with the confidence of, I don't care what anyone thinks. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to say what I want to say. And that's pretty much, I like how you brought that in, because that's why this episode is even here today, is because we can see his confidence level. A lot of people will say he's maybe not right. He's not seeing things correctly. I just think it's an extreme amount of confidence to believe in the things that he believes in. I'm
yeah.
not going to go ahead and say what he said is right or wrong. That's your own entitled opinion to observe what he is saying, what he's doing. But as far as what I see, I just see extreme confidence in just knowing that he knows what it's right to him, and he knows what he believes in and what's true to him. And I think at that point in time, that's really all that really matters.
I think Kanye needs to find God, but that's just my personal opinion. Let's continue with our topic. Um,
He's
more
like, I don't
important
want to talk
subject.
about that.
You say what?
I said, no, you're like, I don't want to talk about that no more.
Mm-mm. No, not on my podcast. Not on our podcast. That's not gonna fly.
Yeah, but I think I don't want to go ahead and dwell on it. I think it's important for people to see that, though. It's not what he's doing, it's I think what he's saying. There has to be a lot of confidence. But anywho, let's continue here. But how do you think
So before we close on that, I'm gonna add, yes, social interaction allow you to expand your level of confidence depending on who you interact with. Some people will drain your confidence level.
true?
Oh.
That's 110% true.
Yes.
They would
So
drain your energy, your confidence. They'll throw all that negativity towards you. So like you mentioned, yeah, that's
yeah,
important as well.
being able to filter through the nuance of negativity.
And I'm curious though, like I'm not gonna say you do know this, but like, do you have like certain things that you see within individuals that lack confidence? Like,
Um,
is there something that you like? Can
a
you
lot of negative
tell?
thought.
Uh,
I think the trend, it's really negative thought. A lot of like, I can't, no, but what if? You get it?
yeah. So in that situation though, I think it's fair for a person to try to understand it though. So I don't think it. I could understand what you're saying. I don't know if I can agree with someone using those words as just showing a lack of confidence though.
I think it's not a lack of confidence. I think there's a number of things that could be there. It could be psychological, it could be lack of education, formal education, it could be, you know, emotional, different emotional states. There's the various array of things that could happen. Now, what we know for a fact is a person has the ability to get himself out of any situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, some people, what we should be doing is really just connecting and educating each other. Because if you are thinking so much more on the negative side, and what you know is all that you know, maybe there's a light at the end of the tunnel if you continue to search, right? And searching is by connecting with one another, or any way that you can get different perspective, connect and grow, so you can better go out there and help society. Now, some people do it, some people don't. I think to me is really the prime example of education. Look at how it the structure of education in a third world country and education here in America, right? There's a whole lot of different level of knowledge that we get that they don't get. So how do you expect them to hope that there's light at the end of the tunnel if all they've seen is just like negativity?
Yeah. Traumatic events. Yeah.
Exactly. That's just one example, man. That's just
Mm.
one example.
So let's just say, just kind of sum things up and allow me to make sure that I understand what you're trying to say correctly.
Mm.
Is if someone is lacking some sort of confidence, I mean, I guess the best way to solve that, or at least help improve their confidence, is to explore more, continue to search, educate yourself, have, maybe not have those conversations, but like you mentioned, go through those audiobooks, go read some more things to help you educate yourself to the point where, or at least just give you some sort of insight, knowledge to the point where now you can have a little bit more confidence on that, or at least have a little bit more of a conversation on it. Because at that point in time, if you're still anxious with all the information that you have, I don't know where to go from there at that point. If that's what somebody is faced with.
Yeah. I mean, that's good advice, but ultimately to me it's just having that foundation, and that foundation, you know what it is, you know.
Well,
So if
like
you
you
mm,
mentioned it yourself, though. You mentioned how you weren't always like this. So I'm assuming everything that you're saying is more or less of what you've been practicing, and just at least what has helped you build that confidence.
yeah, but my practice has been like a continuous sequence of events since 2009,
Yeah,
right? So the work really started then.
it's not overnight.
It's never overnight. And there's still work to be done, right? So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
but being aware of where you stand is very important. That's really it, man. Being aware of where you stand and acknowledging that okay, I have my situation grounded. I know where I am. I know where I'm trying to get, bro. There's no better confidence than that. And at the base of that, knowing that you're not alone, God is with you in the in every step along that ladder that's only going up. There's nothing that can stop you.
So you don't think there's ever a threat that could stop you and hurt you
Uh,
along
uh,
the
uh,
way?
uh, 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 uh. The threats are out there every day. Every day, every hour, every minute, there are threats out there. It's how you respond to those threats that define, you know, your ability to overcome challenges. No, I know there are threats out there, but the work start inside, from within, from within out.
Yeah,
Don't
no,
try to let out affect the inside. You get it?
Yeah, no, I completely understand. I hope the people listening gonna really understand this, and this is why I want to have this conversation. And I think one of the biggest threats that we all deal with is when we pick up our phone and we go to that one of those social media apps, and then we see everything that's going on the other side of the world, with, or at least in somebody else's world. And then what is it that somebody immediately does? They compare themselves. That right there, I think, hurts everyone way too quickly, and it hurts them to the point where some people just never can recover. So it's understand, if you understand that is a threat, and like Francis said, how do you react to it? Don't be reactive. Instead, just try to be more proactive, to the point where you're consistently understanding like this is their life and not your life, and the only thing that you can do is control the controllables in your life. Because I feel like us as humans, and including myself, sometimes I will compare, accolades, success, somebody else's money, their experience, them having a better community. But it doesn't hurt me to the point where I dwell on it, or I hurt myself on it. It's more or less just comparing. Like, okay, well, they have that, so that means it's possible for me to go ahead and do that. So it's just kind of using that as a measure. Of course, we're all going to go through it at some point in time. It's just snapping back into that reality and understanding that that's what they have going for themselves. But like, now, what do you have going for yourself? Because we got to progress. I mean, we have to, one way or another. Otherwise, we're just going to be stagnant, and then the decline starts to happen. And honestly, if you're listening to this, there's no such thing as declines in our lives, because this is what this podcast is here to do. Not a podcast. This is what this show is here to do. Is help here to make sure that we're always inclining, not declining.
Your relationship with yourself is by far the most important thing you can ever do. By far. So look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, where do I stand on that relationship? Because that would define how far your impact in society will be. Not just in society, even, the peace of knowing that you are you.
Take it even a step further. Decide what you want to be confident in. Decide, what do you want to chase your dreams, right? And then, first, of course, believe in yourself. But decide, what dream are you going to chase, or what dream do you believe in? And then help build that help build that confidence. Don't wait for validation along the way, though. Just know that that's what you're doing. Because again, you're gonna seek for that validation outside, from those outside sources, but it's within yourself. That's where the real confidence comes from, is expressing who you are and pursuing the things that you truly desire or you believe in. Oh my gosh, you truly desire what you truly believe in. I had to say it twice, because it's important for everyone that's listening here right now to understand that it's all about you. Now, of course, don't make everything all about you, because of course, at some point in time, when you get what you have, you're going to want to give. Maybe not everybody, but at some point in time, you're going to want to, but that's beyond the fact. But even if you don't have the confidence now is the time to generate it. So ask yourself, what are you going to own? What are you capable of doing? What is that going to look like? And don't fall victim of everything else that comes outside of it.
What do you think those things could be?
To fall outside of confidence?
Yeah.
Looking at everything else around you rather than looking at everything that's in front of you. I know you like to say this a lot to me, is be present. Though I think that's one of the biggest things that anybody can do, is understand what's in front of you, understand what you currently have, understand what you're working towards, understanding what you're striving to. Don't really look at anybody else's scenario and compare, because at that point in time, you're only hurting yourself.
You're able to see a lot more when you're present.
A
lot more. And it gives you a certain, that in itself should give you a certain level of confidence.
Yeah.
Right.
Like let's be honest, if you want to have a great family, you want to be a great husband, a great wife, a great leader, a good trader, have a great investment portfolio, be a great real estate agent, be a great counselor. I mean, I can go on and on and on. You got to really own that. You got to make it part of who you are. And up until that point, if you don't really own it, then how would you ever build a confidence for it?
But you still gotta go do the work, man. You
Yeah.
still gotta do the work. So the reason why I said that society being putting yourself out there in an environment where you can actually grow. So for me, the work really started when I started putting myself in an environment where I would interact with multiple people, not just in a room. You get it?
Mm-hmm.
So it could be on the train, it could be at the airport, it could be when I was working retail. I think working retail, that's really where I had to expand my wings in terms of communication.
Mm.
Yeah, because you're meeting people of all different kind of background. Now I really understand the impact that can have on you, and also the impact that it has on society in general. But at that time, I had no clue. It's just like, what do I need to do, to get paid? I
Yeah.
got bills. You feel me?
Life.
Yeah, life is happening.
Right.
And so you go through that, you navigate, and you're like, okay, this person, for example, when I was working at Marshall in Vermont, right, many, many, many ages ago, there's a lot of customer from Canada,
Mm-hmm.
right, and they will come and they have a certain character, they carry themselves a different way. You can sometimes you can tell,
Mm-hmm.
and conversation with them will go a certain way. Conversation from people on this out go a certain way. Vermont actually has quite a large amount of um, multicultural like diversity. So you get different perspective every time you're working, right? So that
Yeah.
expands your mind. That kind of you see now how people do things, and in the school setting, there's countless example I can give you. But the point is, if I'm at home playing 2K, I'm missing out on that experience.
Come on, don't do him like that.
No, 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 no. I'm not saying that playing 2K is a bad thing, but if you have a balanced schedule, you're also allowing yourself to have fun and go out there and learn and grow. You get me?
Yeah.
It's just having balance. Life is all about having balance. Yin yang. Yin yang.
Ultimately, confidence is in the belief in your ability to do something, to figure things out, to express yourself, have that balance. Understand what you want to do and what you don't want to do, and understand what's going to be, something that's going to be productive to you. I
Yeah.
mean, the progress and the process gives you the confidence more than anything. And
Right.
the more you do it, the more you're gonna understand what to do, what not to do, and you're gonna get well at it. I mean, it's just second nature for us to do that. It's almost nearly impossible for us not to get really good at it. But if you half-ass it, you barely do it, you don't put your all into it, you don't own it,
Mm.
then I mean, you can only reap you can only reap what you put in. So really understand that and know exactly. There's only one way to really overcome the fear
Right.
is to do it.
Yeah. Get out there. Go to work. Go to work. And talking about that confidence, I just wanted to mention something that kind of developed through this year. The first one is the confidence that Ron, had to do certain things to make this podcast move forward. So I just wanted to take this time for everybody to know and appreciate the back work that went for some of these episodes, especially when I was, diving deep into school work. So just a small token of appreciation because that also showed the confidence that you knew, hey, this podcast needs to keep going, right? You feel me? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Put your all into it. That's
right.
it. That's really it. That's really just me understanding that all right, there's something that has to get done here one way or another. And I have the confidence in me. I have the confidence in you, Francis, to make sure that we get this job done the right way that we needed to get it done. So, I mean, it's more or less just no one's gonna look at. I'm not gonna compare anybody to anybody or apples to apples, but I'm not gonna be one of those guys that started something and didn't finish. So
Right, exactly.
that's just not me. It's not
Exactly.
my character. So
And I
you
think that
know,
was one of the very first thing we discussed when we wanted to start this
yeah,
podcast. I was like, yo, if we're gonna start this, better.
yeah, we
You
can't stop
better.
for a very long
Yeah.
time. And I understand the importance of keeping this going, and just it had to get done. And you gotta just balance yourself and understand, like, all right, this is one thing that's added to your plate, even if you don't know what you're doing at the moment. I mean, there's plenty of times that I didn't know what I was doing, right?
Yeah.
But what does our good old mentor say, right? We was moving hella clueless, but we did it like we knew it. All
Mhm.
right. So it's just that aspect in itself. I'm not playing the imposter syndrome aspect. I'm figuring out along the way as I go. Every day we wake up and we try to navigate through life. So if you try to figure out and you try to act like you know it all, you're gonna give yourself more stress trying to figure it all out and knowing it all.
Yeah, exactly. Know how to delegate. And so you can have enough strength to do the thing that you gotta do, man. We all here got a job to do.
Yeah.
We all have a job to do, whether whether you like it or not. You did not come here to sleep all night, to sleep all day, right? So figure out what your job is and go out there and do it successfully with flying colors. I like to say, flying colors.
And really, man, the focus is just leveling up. Cause I know the life I want, I'm just setting it up. Removing those that's close who try messing it up. Can't wait for champagne toast with the relevant bunch. Like, what's up? Yeah. Like, what you do, homie? What's your vision? How you thinking? How you move, homie? And is you cool, homie? You thinking building, then that's something we could do, homie.